Hullabaloo, I'm Cheery and I'm here at Fakenham Farm. You can probably hear the animals in the background, where I have my nursery, the Coastal Gardener. And here we grow lots of plants suited to coastal conditions. And amongst these plants we have some edibles, and these are the ones I want to talk to you about today. So the plants I'm going to talk about are plants that you could find growing in the wild along the shoreline of the Isle of Wight, but they also make great coastal plants. And I'm going to introduce you to 5 of them in the hope that you might grow some of them in your own garden. Foraging's great, but it's great if you've got the space to grow your own, because then you won't be depleting stocks of things in the wild. So here goes.
This coastal edible is Beta vulgaris maritima, better known to you and I as sea beet or perhaps as sea spinach. And indeed it is the parent plant of not only spinach but of chard and beetroot and even sugar beet. So they're its descendants, quite far removed it has to be said, but all thanks to this plant. So this grows in the wild on the upper shoreline, and you can see it has these little flowering shoots and these leaves that look very spinach-like, and you can eat both the shoots and the leaves, and indeed even the roots have been eaten. Archaeologists know that it was eaten in Denmark over 7,000 years ago. But if you steam the shoots and the leaves, you will find it removes the bitterness and tastes much better. And best to eat the young leaves when they first appear, sort of April-May time. So a really good coastal edible. It's very widely available in the wild, but the advantage of growing it in your own garden is you can be sure that the dogs haven't got to it first. It does self-seed around a bit, but it's really a very attractive garden plant too. This shrubby plant is sea buckthorn, and it's a bit of a wonder plant because it's really high in vitamin C and in antioxidants. But the part you eat isn't the part you can see at the moment, which are the leaves, the thorns and the stem. You eat the berries. So in July this shrub is covered in really bright orange berries, and they're the things that you eat. So they have to be cooked, and they have a really astringent lemony flavour and are very good to eat with fish. And you can also use the berries to make a jam. So this grows to a couple of metres tall and wide, and forms a really thick, dense shrub, and is really useful for stabilising sand dunes. It's quite tricky in the garden in that it does run, so that means it throws up shoots elsewhere, so you need plenty of space for it, but it's something that does grow in the wild all around our shores, and you certainly won't be damaging the plant if you pick the berries and eat them. So happy hunting! This is one of my favourite edible coastal plants. It's sea kale, or Cramby maritima. Cramby meaning cabbage-like, and maritima meaning of the sea. And you can see it's got these lovely thick waxy leaves which protect it from salt spray. But interestingly, this plant is a halophyte, which means it's quite happy having salty water around its roots, which would kill off most plants, but sea kale doesn't mind a bit. It simply filters out the salt and carries on thriving. Now, as well as these very pretty leaves, it has amazing flowers at the end of May, and it's now the end of May, so you can see them. Here they are. And what's even better is they smell of honey, and they attract lots of pollinating insects too. Now, this beauty is native to European shores, usually growing on shingly beaches, and there are several clumps of it around the Isle of Wight. It used to be really popular and was found all over the place, but in Victorian times eating it became very popular and very trendy, and so it got foraged almost to extinction, and for a while it was illegal to harvest it, but it's off that list now, so you can go and forage it off the beach, but even better, you can grow your own. It makes a really lovely garden plant. No trouble at all, just needs lots of sunshine and good drainage. And here I've got it growing in my gravel garden at the front of my house, which isn't far from the sea, but it doesn't need to be by the sea. It will grow inland quite happily too. One of the other reasons I love this plant is you can eat every single part of it. The roots, the leaves, the shoots, the flowers, and even the seed pods when they form later in the year. Now, the most popular part to eat are the shoots, and they taste a bit like asparagus. And traditionally, on beaches, people would pile stones up over the shoots so that as they came up through the stones, they'd be really tender, in the same way you might force rhubarb. You can, if you don't want to pile up stones over it, put a bucket or a terracotta pot, and there are actually sea kale forcers, which are terracotta pots with similar dimensions to a bucket, and then you could grow your own. And in recent years there's been a bit of resurgence of interest in eating sea kale. So if you're walking along the beach and you see something with flowers like this or leaves like that, that's sea kale. This is another edible plant that grows in the wild but performs really well as a garden plant too. It's sea lovage or Scotch lovage, and it's a perennial plant, which means it comes back each year after dying back in the winter. Shoots appear in the spring, and by this time of year this lovage plant is producing beautiful umbellifer flowers. So that means these kind of flat-headed multi-flowers that are really attractive to beneficial insects, so good to have in the garden for that reason alone. And it flowers June, July, August, and then produces these lovely seed heads, which in a month or two the seeds will go a beautiful golden brown colour, and it will then self-seed around your garden. You can eat the seeds as a substitute for cumin, and you can also eat the stems and the leaves, and you can see how lush the leaves are going here. And really attractive leaves with this nice red stem running through them too. So in the wild it grows on rock and shingle, so you need to give it similar conditions in your garden, so definitely well-drained soil. And here it grows pretty much in full sun, but it will take some shade as well, and I strongly recommend it. So this little plant is rock samphire. There's another kind of samphire too, marsh samphire, but the rock one, this one, is much easier to grow in your garden as a coastal edible than marsh samphire, which really needs salt water. But this just needs conditions similar to it gets in the wild, so really good drainage, so as you can imagine it grows in rocky places, and then it will thrive, and you'll get these lovely shoots that you can eat. So best eaten early in the year, and most people fry them with butter or olive oil and a bit of seasoning. And they used to be a really popular delicacy, and they were harvested and casks of them were sent to London from the Isle of Wight, where they were considered a rare treat and a great delicacy. So sadly it's lost its reputation now, and marsh samphire has become far more popular, but it's still a great edible to grow in your own garden. It's really high in vitamin C and was very popular with sailors for that reason, and they'd take it on long journeys pickled so they could eat it along the way.